Yeah. I was going to say, I said that I wasn't going to say all right every time I do a podcast. So, didn't do it that time. Nice try. All right. See, that's the only word I know.
That was way better.
That's all I know.
Glad you did it that way instead.
Yeah. The Sweet 16 is over, apparently. After a very, very good Thursday of games. Now, Friday night left a little bit to be desired. I know Princeton made a couple runs here and there, but what was the game before? I don't remember. Oh, yeah, Alabama. Yeah, well, the Miami-Houston game turned out to be a
embarrassing.
Yeah, which is probably one of the more surprising results given how ugly it was. Because I definitely envisioned a scenario, and I think I talked about it a couple times, before the tournament, where Alabama couldn't shoot and lost a game. And that was pretty much what happened to them last night. They couldn't shoot. San Diego State could, which is weird, but
yeah, I mean, it wasn't barn burning type shooting by either side. A lot of bricks, but yeah, Alabama was embarrassingly bad.
3 for 27.
Yeah.
3.
I saw somebody tweet that there was no correlation between 3-point shooting and winning in the tournament this year. And I find that hard to believe. I mean, the teams that lost all shot like under 30%, and the teams that won have shot over 35%. So,
well, I think it's a huge difference when you shoot 11% and miss 24.
That's a huge difference.
That is a tough way for Brandon Miller to go out.
Yeah. Especially when you're NBA draft top 3 guy go. I think he shot 19%.
3 for 19 from the field in this game.
Yeah.
9 points, 11 rebounds, 6 turnovers, 3 assists, 1 block, 1 steal. Had 2 fouls early. Yeah. Brought him back in. Looked like he got his third. They called it on Sears.
That on him. Yeah, that was weird.
It was a little sketchy, I would say. But this is tough because Nate Oates now, last season's team, I don't blame him for not getting out of the first round. Quinterly went down in that game against Notre Dame last year. Year before that, they ran into a UCLA team in the second round that, I mean, look, the UCLA team got to the Final Four. It's actually the Sweet 16, but that UCLA team got to the Final Four. This team, you got to go further. You're playing – San Diego State's good. They're old. They're experienced. One of the reasons why everybody loves San Diego State coming into the season is because they got Bradley back, because they got Butler back, because they got Mensah back. So that's the reason that people like this team so much. But you can't – Alabama's got to win this game. And they were up 9 with 11 to go.
San Diego State just seemed stronger is what – I mean, they seem more physical in this game. And I think it disrupted Alabama.
Alabama doesn't have a lot of experience.
Yeah.
Given the fact that you have Bediako's a sophomore, Clowney and Miller are freshmen, Sears is a junior, but he came from Ohio. Quinterly's a senior who played in the tournament the last 2 years before this, but tore his ACL last season in the tournament. And Amari Burnett, who played 7 minutes, has been hurt a ton. And he was just, I don't even know if he's played. I don't think he's played in the tournament. Maybe he did for Texas Tech, but Nick Pringle missed last season, played at Wofford before that. Noah Gurley played at Furman for a couple of years before the last 2 years at Alabama. So he doesn't have a ton of tournament experience. And that's not to say that that's an excuse. It's just sometimes you can see it. And I think we saw it in certain spots where they were, I mean, they fouled 22 times. They turned the ball over 14 times, which isn't 14 turnovers, not that bad. But they also got 52 rebounds. So one of those games they couldn't buy a shot. This Alabama team wasn't the most efficient 3-point shooting team, but they made a lot of them. Yeah. They were 198th in the country this season in 3-point percentage, but at some point they weren't going to be able to shoot well. And 3 for 27, that's all you need to know.
Yeah, it kind of shows you how bad the shooting was on both ends when rebounding's 52-48.
Yep. And the final score was only 71-64, which is not, exactly a high scoring game. You look at the first 2 games for Alabama in the tournament.
Bad for both teams. So
Alabama could kind of overwhelm their previous opponents with their athleticism and length on the defensive end, they were only 6 for 21 from three against Maryland. So that's not that great either. That's 28%. But they made a lot of free throws in that game. They had some production with twos, and they held Maryland to 19 field goals and 1 for 8 from three. So that was a big factor there. And I don't think anybody took into account that Darian Trammell would score Trammell or Trammell, whatever. I know a baseball player named Trammell was spelled that way. Trammell. Wasn't listening to the broadcast last night. Wouldn't know how it's pronounced. Wouldn't care. But 21 points on 9 field goals. He hasn't scored. He scored 21 points 3 times this season before that. But the opponents were BYU. Okay. Arizona. That's good. Okay. But much, less efficient in that game. He's 1 for 7 from 3. And then the other one was UNLV. So
yeah, and he caught a knee to the thigh early and kind of wondered if he'd come back. And they came back and basically offensively that carried San Diego State through this game.
Yeah, and he was playing at Seattle the last 2 seasons, so he's not a guy who's been here before. And also, I find it weird that he scored 21 points 4 times this season. Never 22, never 23. It's always 21.
21.
Interesting.
Magic number.
Yeah, but I think this Creighton-San Diego State matchup will be fascinating because I think Creighton's a better team, but I mean, they played in the tournament last season, and San Diego State blew a lead late in the first round. They're going to want a little revenge for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now we go to the Creighton-Princeton game. 86-75. Creighton gets it done. I didn't think this one was really ever in doubt. I mean, I know it got a little hairy here and there, but Princeton had 50 points between 2 guys, Langboard and my good friend Tosan.
Yeah.
Evbuabawam. So I don't know how to pronounce his last name, so I won't even try, but I just did. But yeah, I mean, Princeton played pretty well overall. I mean, on the offensive end, 75 points, 21 for 44 from 2, 9 for 21 from 3, which is 43%. Struggled a bit on the glass, 5 offensive rebounds, not great.
Yeah, that's what carried them through their last victory over Missouri.
Yeah, it's because Missouri didn't even try to rebound.
Yeah, it seemed like when Princeton got down, they just the shots wouldn't fall when they needed them to. Had some open looks at threes.
Classic 15 seed, though.
That's when they started missing. So
it usually happens to those higher seeds.
Yeah. Yep.
Baylor Shireman had 9 rebounds in this game. That helps. When you can win a game and Kalkbrenner only has 5 boards.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
And when Shireman's banking in threes, Creighton's going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, I would not be surprised at all to see this team playing in a national championship. However, I would be absolutely floored if the national champion came from the left side of the bracket. I don't think there's any way that happens. But this tournament's dumb, so I guess you never really know. But I feel like I'm trying to think of like the last national championship game where you were like, this is kind of weird matchup wise. I'd probably say UConn Butler.
Butler, yeah.
UConn Butler, probably the one because.
Yeah, back in, when was that?
2012?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Somewhere around there. No, I think 2012 was Kentucky.
Maybe 2010, 2011. I want to say it was like 13 years ago. 12 years ago. 10 years ago.
Let's look here, shall we? Okay.
Are we looking? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah. 2010 was Duke Butler and 2011 was UConn Butler. Yeah, this would be the newer generations. If it's like Creighton, UConn would be the newer generations UConn Butler. Which, I mean, hey, it'd be funny. I mean, even Creighton Miami would be weird as hell. But who knows? I mean, hey, maybe FAU makes national championship game.
Yeah, they got a chance. Neither Fonz nor Billis had someone from the left side of their bracket in their top 4 to win it all.
Yeah, I just don't think that it's going to happen. The right side is so much better.
Yeah.
It's not even close. The gap is astronomical.
It would have been interesting if Texas would have lost and not have any 1 or 2 seeds in.
Yeah. But Texas did the unthinkable in this tournament, which is play like your seed.
Yeah. Yeah, you're exactly right. and people were saying worst 1 seeds ever because they're out right now. But again, there's 1-2 seed. So who would you have put on the 1 line instead? Maybe Texas did deserve a 1, but
I don't think that's the argument. I just think it's that these 1 seeds were pretty weak overall.
yeah, maybe the NIL doesn't mean as much as people think it does.
Well, it doesn't have the effect that people thought it would, where it makes the rich richer. It doesn't.
Yeah.
That's not the case. When you see a
Right.
team like Miami's like, we got the cash. Let's go throw 800,000 or whatever they threw at Nigel Pack, and then okay, all right, it's working.
They did the same thing on the girls' side too, and they're in
With the
the Twins.
yeah.
So,
But I mean, hey, it works.
yep,
Somebody tell Josh Whitman to wake the hell up.
spend that money.
Yeah, so I think Rodney Terry, aka Gus Fring, a lot of national attention now on him trying to get the job.
I don't see it happening.
If they win a national championship, I don't
think it does. If so, this is the storyline that nobody's talking about. If they win a national championship, what are we going to say about Beard?
We're going to say that Beard built well, here's the thing, okay? I think if Rodney Terry gets the job and then does a good job for like a decade, then we won't even think about Beard. But if he does a bad job, we're like, oh, he won with Beard's guys. Just like how we say Kevin Ollie won with Calhoun's guys
Yeah.
at UConn.
Right.
So,
but has it ever happened mid-season like that?
I don't think so. It happens in like every other sport. Every other sport, there's always a year where, oh, coach gets fired, you win a championship. The Blues did that.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Zach says, what's nuts is everyone thought 1 seeds were leaps and bounds better than the rest of the field. Yeah, I would say I was in that boat. Last night, even when the game was, 8-5 or something, I'm like, I don't see anybody beating Alabama, and then they ended up getting beat. So
I feel like based on my bracket, though, I think that I treated the 2s and 3s a little bit more favorably than others did.
Yeah.
Except for Marquette. I thought Arizona would go far, have Gonzaga going far. They're the 3. I had Texas going to the Elite 8. But overall, I think that's kind of what I don't think the tournaments, I think everything will calm back down about 2 years from now. Because you got to think about the COVID year and all these old teams that are mid-major teams that are really old and that can hang with like Furman can hang with Virginia. They couldn't really hang with SDSU, but that was just a matchup issue. But I think in 2026 it'll be a little bit more normal in the sense that we'll probably see a Duke or North Carolina. I mean, you got to remember last year the Final Four was Villanova, North Carolina, Duke, Kansas. That was the Final Four last year.
Right.
And that is the complete opposite to what we're going to see this year.
Yep. Blue Blood City.
People need to think about that. I almost said Houston, but they were in the Final Four 2 years ago. The year before that, the Final Four was Gonzaga, Baylor, UCLA, Houston. 4 more brands right there, right in your face. So, I mean, it's going to be random this season. And the least random it can get is probably the Final Four that I'm picking is the least amount of random. Yours is probably the second least amount of random.
Yeah.
And the next scenario is like, okay, what are we going to see? FAU play San Diego State in a Final Four game?
Yeah.
Or we're going to see UConn and Miami? I mean, what a bizarre time. Anyway, this could have been Illinois, but Brad Underwood decided that he sucks at coaching. All right. So you had Kansas State and FAU advance. Just discussing their games a little bit here. Kansas State, obviously, the Marquise Noel game, overtime winner against Michigan State. Shout out to Michigan State. I had them going to the Final Four. Gave it a good run for me. I thought they played really well in this game. They shot the ball about as well as they can. I mean, you look at the numbers. You get 25 from Hogard, 18 from Hauser. You get 16 from Walker. You get 14 from Akins, 13 from Hall. That's about as well as those guys are going to play together all at once. Mm-hmm. They shot 52% from 3.
Yeah.
Just couldn't slow down Tang's attack.
Yeah, this was like the opposite of that Alabama San Diego State game, where both teams were just throwing haymakers at each other. I think that this game was better than the UCLA Gonzaga game, and everybody else, I think, after the UCLA Gonzaga game, forgot about how good this game was. So
I think I agree with that. But the UCLA Gonzaga game was like, whoa. Every time these two play in the tournament, it's really something.
Right. Yeah.
Even though, hang on a sec, let me check my stats here. I got a stat on one of their other games that was a flopper.
Michigan State was definitely Illinois that last possession. Didn't even get a shot off. Everybody's mad because Joey Hauser didn't take that three. I think if he took that three, that thing was getting sent across the court, though. So head fake into a shot probably would have been good instead of head fake into passing.
Gonzaga 2015, Gonzaga UCLA 2015, Sweet 16, 74-62 Gonzaga. So that one wasn't really a classic. But the other three were. I can't believe UCLA had a lead with 10 seconds left or 12 seconds left.
Yeah.
That was the dumbest part about that game.
Yep.
But Marquise Noel, 20 points, 19 assists. I know there's a prisoner of the moment thing when we see a guy do this much. You're like, whoa, this is like the best performance ever by a point guard in a tournament. It's certainly up there given the circumstances. You have a team that's a 3 seed. It's not like they're a 2 or a 1. Not like they're a blue blood. It's not like they were expected to be here, which they weren't. You have a point guard who I'm not going to shame his height, but he is smaller than most of the other players in the court.
Much.
And you have, I guess, like the Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers type player because he just absolutely wheels and deals the basketball all over the place, not even looking.
Yep.
So I guess that's how – I didn't want to say just Mahomes because everyone always does that, and I'm going to add my former quarterback to that mix as well. Anyway, Keontae Johnson at 22 had the nice reverse dunk, which – where you at on the was that a set play, not a set play, the fake arguing?
I thought it was a set play. Apparently somebody interviewed Tang, and Tang said no.
He's throwing us off the scent.
Yeah, he said no. Noel wanted to run this. I wanted to run that, which I think is crazy because like that conversation during a game in that particular moment seems extreme to me.
Well, we don't see that because our coach just sits there and bitches and moans the whole game.
Yeah. I think the players ended up saying something about how if we tell you it was, then the next team will know or something.
It's true.
Like that. So
they also ran an alley-oop to start the game.
Yeah. I don't know if it was a set play, but I think that those two guys are just smart enough to understand what's going on. I think that might have been a legit argument between Noel and Tang, but Noel and Johnson apparently are on a different level than everybody else. So
I'll say this. I think Kansas State right now is the highest IQ team left, and I think that they are the most well-coached team left in the tournament.
Yeah.
Because they were running like Michigan State could not guard any of the cutters. They couldn't guard anything that Kansas State was trying to do. And Kansas State just had their way with them. And I think it shows that Jerome Tang probably should be a coach at a much bigger place soon. No offense to Kansas State, but I mean –
coming to Illinois?
Well, I don't know if that's a much bigger place. I would say the team that is in the Midwest region right now playing could be a good fit. But anyway, yeah, I mean, this team – I don't know. I think America's probably going to be behind them if they get to the Final Four.
I think so.
So they're the team that's captivated the country.
I would love a Jerome Tang, Jim Larinaga dance off, though. You see Larinaga's dance moves yesterday or the day before? Was that yesterday?
I did not see it, but
we definitely need a dance off. I'll try to find that for you.
Just got to think of. What Jim Boeheim would look like dancing. I don't know. Whatever. Florida Atlantic beat Tennessee.
I'm pretty sure Ant Wright shared it.
Well, I wasn't on Twitter that much after the games last night. Nice try. Heck of a try by you.
Ant Wright was mad because they cut it off before his finale, I think. So.
Florida Atlantic beat Tennessee 62-55. John L. Davis had 15.6 boards. A couple other players contributed. I mean, this was a very, very Tennessee-like score. This is probably the type of score that Tennessee wants. But it's kind of weird to me how Florida Atlantic started season 1-1. They lost to Ole Miss by 13. And since then, they are now 33-2 since then, which since then 4 times. I just said it. I said this before the tournament. I believe they'd had one season before this of 20 wins. They won 20 games about 10 years ago. Didn't even make the tournament. Now they have 34. So we'll see if they can keep it rolling. I am afraid to say that they're probably going to get destroyed today, but I've seen weirder things happen, I guess. Yeah. But Dusty May should probably be a high major coach soon, so that's kind of where I'd sit on it. Let's go bottom left here I just did bottom left. Let's go top left. San Diego State and Creighton advancing in the South. We already touched on San Diego State-Alabama game. We already touched on Creighton's game a little bit, but we'll talk about their matchup here in a moment. Now we'll shift over top right, Miami and Texas. Miami guard play absolutely overwhelmed Houston in certain spots. 89-75 the final. Miami scored 42 in the first half. That's the right math. Nailed it. And then Miami had 70 points with 10 minutes to go. So they weren't messing around. They got 26 from Pack, 20 from Wong, 13 from Miller. Omier had 12 and 13. My good friend Wooga Poplar had 11. So
putting up 89 against Houston's impressive, right?
When was the last time Houston let a guy shoot 7 for 10 from 3 against them? Maybe never under Kelvin Sampson. I mean,
sounds right.
7 for 10. My God. It's just like Miami's guards, Wong and Pack. Every time they shoot, you're like, well, that's in.
Yeah.
Every time.
I'm trying to see. The most they gave up this year was 75 to Memphis out the shoot. So
yeah, they got
season. I would have been in the tournament, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and they, they give up 64 to Auburn. That's a lot of points to give up to Auburn, let me tell you.
Yeah, here, I got this for you. Can I share my screen, or does that mess up your thing?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think it would. If it does, then this thing's a waste.
This one, I think. There you go. I don't know if the audio is shared or not, but
I hope it's not.
You ready?
Yep.
Not watching. You ready?
And it didn't work, and they got beat down. But I actually, oh my goodness.
Work it out, Coach Larinaga. Work it out.
He's doing it wrong now.
Work it out. Work it out, Coach Larinaga.
Man, please, I can't,
Give me a dance
I can't
off.
unsee that. Oh, he's better than you. He's much better than you. I can't, Chuck, I've seen you dance, and I've seen Coach Larinaga dance. Dancing with the Stars.
Well, neither one of us should be
He gets a 10. He gets a 9.5. You get like a 7. And
I cut it off right before the finale.
We're gonna get sued by Turner. Anyway,
I hope so.
Yeah, Tang would dust that old man. Miami gets it done, and Marcus Sasser was 4 for 12 from the field. Jerace Walker was 4 for 16. Love how he said right away, "Yeah, I'm declaring for the draft." I mean, let it breathe a little bit. We all know you're gonna just maybe give it a week. But that's all right. Overall, though, some of these numbers, I wouldn't think that Houston would lose this game. But they did. They shot 31 threes, which I feel like maybe too much. Because you look at their other losses this season, Alabama scored 71 against them. Temple scored 56. Like you said, Memphis scored 75.
Yeah. They
held their first 2 opponents in the conference tournament to under 50 points. And then they run into on-brand Jim Boeheim, the better coach between the two right now, no doubt. Of course, Boeheim's gone, thank God. And then the other game was Texas and Xavier. This was a blowout. Texas controlled start to finish, 83-71. Texas 42. They had a 42-25 lead at the half. Come out in the first 10 minutes of the second half, put up 25 more. just a dominant performance. Dylan Disu did go down for them, so I don't know what kind of a factor that'll play. They did get 24 minutes out of Christian Bishop. Little Christian Bishop revenge game. Creighton, Texas national championship. Anybody? Tyrese Hunter had 19, shot 3 for 3 from 3. Marcus Carr had 18. He was 7 for 16 from the field. And Bishop, like I said, had a good game, 18 points, 9 boards. I don't even know if he's played 24 minutes the entire season. Oh, yeah, he has. Okay. I just never see him out there when I'm watching Texas. I don't know why. I'm just not paying enough attention. And then the best six-man in America, Serge Jabari Rice, had 16. So Texas 7 for 12 from 3. Texas, if they're playing like this, it's going to be hard to, especially when their 5-star freshman is only playing 11 minutes and had 0 points.
Yeah. If they continue to play like this, we'll see. You never know.
I think Dylan Mitchell has been kicked out of the rotation pretty much. I mean, he hasn't played more than 15 minutes since February 6th. So, he's out there for defense mainly, but see ya. Texas. Xavier, they weren't that bad. Defensively, they just couldn't get a stop, which isn't really surprising if you watch the Xavier team. And if you watch the Big East like all year, the Big East is not a conference with the greatest defenses. UConn is kind of the exception. But you look at Xavier, defensively, they were 65th. You look at Marquette, they were 43rd. Creighton was 14th. They were one of the exceptions. Obviously, UConn 13th. But Texas, this was kind of a Xavier-style game, but Texas is still capable of scoring that many points just because of how much firepower they have in the backcourt. And this Miami-Texas game is a game of backcourts. Both backcourts, elite.
Yeah.
I think Miami is a little bit better in terms of I need a shot to be made, but who knows? What do I know? I don't know, Ball.
That's true.
Your thoughts?
You don't know ball. That's my thoughts.
No thoughts on Sean Miller and Xavier? And
I'm kind of disappointed with Xavier's performance here. I thought that they were going to do something. They apparently weren't as good as you kept talking them up all year.
Oh my God, they got to the Sweet 16. Is that not an accomplishment?
Nope.
Well, then your program hasn't accomplished anything in the last 18 years. All right. UConn and Gonzaga advanced. UConn just beat the brakes off of Arkansas. UConn has an elite point differential through 3 games in this tournament. If I could just do the quick math for everybody real quick here.
Yeah, sure.
So through 2 games, we're at 39. 39 plus 23 is 52, right? Is that right? Yeah.
62.
Got to be. 62. Damn it. Yeah. So plus 62 in 3 games. I don't think anybody's been better than that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I've ever been more excited for an Elite 8 game than I am for UConn Gonzaga.
Do you think
it's gonna be
UConn
great.
wins by like 40?
I don't think Gonzaga is capable of losing by 40.
I don't know. UConn looks good. They
do. And they have the matchups to neutralize Timmy because Sonogo is huge and Klingon is like 8'3".
Yeah, they call a few travels this game too. Timmy's in trouble.
He did travel big time on that play the video that I saw.
He had 2 that were pretty blatant.
Well, the Ant Wright tweet where he said he did the Cupid Shuffle was that was a lot of steps.
Yeah.
But UConn looks like a juggernaut, but this tournament means that you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Sure.
And Gonzaga could come out and actually play defense, but I wouldn't hold my breath. Gonzaga has become like the classic terrible in the first half, and then they just completely turn it on in the second half.
Absolutely correct there. Yeah. I'd like to see their first half points to their second half points in these games.
We can do it right now.
33-46 UCLA game.
It was 40-36 in the Grand Canyon game, which is not great if you're playing Grand Canyon. And TCU, it was 38-33. They were down 5.
Yeah.
And then they
scored 51.
51, yeah.
Yeah. So,
but however, they only scored 46 in the second half against UCLA. That's not that impressive. That's pretty low. They were plus 16 in the second half against UCLA. They were plus 8 in the second half against TCU. And then against Grand Canyon, they were plus 8. So 42 points in the second half against Grand Canyon. And UConn, they've been a team that's been able to dominate both halves, except for the Iona game. Let's keep that in mind, folks. The Iona game, UConn was down at the half by a couple points. St. Mary's, UConn was only up 1 at the end of the half, and then they outscored 39-25 in the second half. Arkansas game, they were up a lot, 17 at the half, and then outscored them 6. Math is very hard on the fly. People don't think about that very often. All right, let's see. Elite 8 game previews of the games. Tonight, we got a terrible game to start. It's a joke. Florida Atlantic, Kansas State. Who would have thought we'd be here, huh? Who would have thought? Who would have thought we'd be sitting there being like, hey, Jerome Tang, Dusty May. Interesting.
That's what I thought the whole time.
I'm sure. Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, Madison Square Garden, as most of the people there will say.
Just like that.
Madison Square Garden, 5:09 p.m. Standard Eastern. Nope. Damn it.
Central.
5:09 Central Time. TBS. I mean, hey, Ken Palm says Florida Atlantic's better overall.
What's Ken Palm know?
A little more balance. I don't think Kansas State's always been the most efficient team, but they do find ways to score and run good offensive sets, pretty sweet sets. By the way, the Conference USA, pretty good conference this year. Let's think about this. 2 of the final teams in the NIT are from there. North Texas and UAB, and the CBI champion, Charlotte, out of Conference USA. And then they have Florida Atlantic in the Elite 8. I mean, the other 2 are fake tournaments, but they count for something.
What are we thinking about? Yeah, what are you talking about?
Well, let's think about the Conference USA.
They got the 69th and 60 and 70th best teams. Good job. Great. And then 105.
Conference had a pretty good year. I mean, they have a team that's gone further than anybody in the Big Ten or SEC went this year.
Okay.
And Pac-12.
One team.
They can't get to. They can't get to because there's no respect. So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, Kansas State is better. So that's kind of where I'm leaning here. That's why I'm going to take Kansas State.
I agree. I'm surprised the line's only 2, but I will take K-State. I think they'll cover 2 also. And rip it up, tear it up, set it on fire.
Yeah.
Okay. K-State to the championship. Oh, wait.
Well, that would be the Final Four, but that's all right.
I think they'll.
All right, let's talk about a real game here. UConn Gonzaga, 8:49 Eastern time, 7:49 Central. TBS from Las Vegas. See if there's actual fans there now.
I doubt it.
I'm sure Bobby Hurley will be there. Bobby Hurley Sr. and Bobby Hurley Jr. Nobody calls him Junior, but I guess he technically is a junior, right?
I don't know. It depends. Middle name.
So maybe the weirdest thing about this matchup, and maybe not the thing that anybody really thinks about when they think about both teams, is that Gonzaga has the number 1 offensive efficiency in the country, and UConn has the number 3 offensive efficiency in the country, which I know UConn has great metrics, but 3 is insane.
How's the defense look?
Gonzaga 73rd, UConn 13th. I would have thought UConn would have been 3rd in defense and 13th in offense, but what do I know? Because UConn literally has a guy who plays a ton of minutes that physically cannot shoot the basketball, and that's Andre Jackson. But he's a great athlete and a great defender. So I think this game matches up very well for UConn, which scares me a little bit with the fact that I've been picking against UConn this entire tournament, and I'm going to keep it rolling.
UConn was your team. They were your team midway through the season, and now you've just lost all hope as they're making a Final Four run.
I'm almost picking against them on purpose, though, just because I know at this point maybe they'll win if I don't pick them. But I also need Gonzaga to win for the sake of whatever is left in my bracket, which is Gonzaga in the national championship game. And I have a bracket with them winning it. So I think that this is like suspiciously a great matchup for UConn. It's suspicious that this matchup is so good for them because they have the guys that can neutralize Timmy as much as you can. Mm-hmm. They have guards that can guard, more experienced guards overall. Because Malachi Smith played in the tournament at Chattanooga last year. They played Illinois. Is that even a real tournament game? Illinois stinks. Nolan Hickman hasn't played a lot in the tournament. They don't have Nembhard anymore. He's not walking through that door. I think the two keys for Gonzaga in this game is they're going to need shots made from Julian Strother and Rasir Bolton. Those guys have got to make some shots tonight. Yeah. And Strother
be going early too.
Yeah, Strother has proven that he can do it because you can get buried by UConn pretty quick.
You can't sleepwalk through the first half against UConn
because UCLA pretty much gave it all they had in the first half, and Gonzaga would have lost if UCLA has Jalen Clark and Adembona. Gonzaga gets run out of the building in that game.
Yeah.
So spin zone that, Mark Few. But this is such a good matchup for UCLA. Or Jesus, damn it. It's such a good matchup for UConn that I'm picking Gonzaga. So
yeah, I'm going to go with Gonzaga just because I own them and I need them to win so I can get some of my money back. So there you go. I honestly don't think they're going to win this game. I think they're probably going to lose by 10 to 15, but I got to pick them because I got to ride with them. So does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about what the Final Four ratings might be like if we end up with like Creighton, San Diego State, or not Creighton, San Diego. If we end up with like FAU, San Diego State, and Miami, UConn, or something, like what the ratings might suck. It was a long way away from Duke, North Carolina last year.
That's true.
No offense to any of the teams I would obviously watch, but I'm just saying the people that don't really care that much about ball.
Maybe that's what people want to see instead of the ones.
I don't think it is. No,
I disagree.
Well, then people are stupid. Let's see. What do we got? Where was I at? I guess tomorrow's games. This is why I need to write a script for these for myself to keep the car on the road, flying off the road here. All right. Creighton, San Diego State is at 2:20 Eastern, 1:20 Central on CBS from the KFC Yum Center in Louisville, Kentucky, which they show this Louisville Slugger bat all the time. It's like, okay, I think that's a little played out at this point. We don't need to see the gigantic bat. Like, I've been there. I have a picture of me there. It's like the Louisville Slugger bats suck. Creighton, San Diego State, rematch of last year in the first round. There was an 8-9 game last year. Apparently, Adams, Seiko, and Arthur Kaluma are brothers, half brothers, whatever. I don't know. They're on each team. That's just one of the first things I saw. Wild is what that is. It's not really. It's just something that the media runs with for no reason. Just like how we had to see that little bitch from Northwestern all grown up, and nobody cares. Loser. Root for Northwestern. Never going to see anything. Baylor Shireman, transfer from South Dakota State. Maybe the difference maker in this matchup, I think. And Creighton's always had like one of the better starting fives in the country. It's just putting it together, staying healthy. This was a team that was 9-8 on January 11th with losses to Arizona. The six game losing streak was Arizona by 2, Texas by 5, Nebraska by 10, BYU by 3, Arizona State by 2, Marquette by 11. And they got back on track a little bit with Butler, DePaul, and Seton Hall, and they lost to Connecticut and Xavier. And then they won 8 in a row.
Was hurt for what, 4 of those games? See out for
Let's give that a look.
3 or 4, something like that.
They went 0-3 without him.
Okay.
They lost to BYU, Arizona State, and Marquette without him. But they also lost to Nebraska with him. So you tell me what's the deal with that?
It's true.
Yeah.
Big Ten's better, is what it sounds like to me.
Nebraska should have been in. I agree. Yeah, I like Creighton a lot in this game. I think they match up well. They can score. They can also defend a little bit. I mean, their defensive metrics are better than their offensive metrics, so they should be able to do it. I mean, they're very efficient inside the arc. They're 17th in the country in 2-point percentage, but San Diego State's 28th at guarding it. So, wait, that's the wrong stat. San Diego State's 143rd at guarding it, so I think that's good for Creighton because I completely read the numbers wrong there. So I need a numbers guy.
I think San Diego State had 8 blocks against Alabama though, so they got guys in there that can fly around and do some things. But yeah, I think Shireman, Kalkbrenner, the other guys, I think that their offense is going to be too.
Nimhard, Kaluma, Alexander, yes.
Thank you.
Creighton.
I appreciate your help.
The Big East is a beast once again. 2 teams remain. How about that? And then Gonzaga is a future Big East team, I bet. So there's 3. Moving along, I'm taking Creighton.
Same. Give me Creighton.
All right. Texas and Miami.
Oh, we got a game left. Shoot. Sorry.
Jeez.
Texas, Miami. Yeah.
5:05, Kansas City, Missouri. 4:05 Central, CBS. I bet Jim Nance is disappointed that he doesn't get to see his alma mater, Houston, for his last Final Four in Houston.
Yeah, I'm sure
Houston really screwed that up. Hey, he's probably annoyed. I guarantee he's annoyed.
You should go yell at some children then.
This is the second most explosive matchup in the Elite Eight behind UConn Gonzaga for me. But it might be on the explosive meter. This might be a little bit more explosive. I'm just more into the UConn Gonzaga game for different reasons. But Miami's lack of being able to defend worries me in this game a lot because Houston's really good, but I don't think Houston has the overall guard shot making that Texas does. Just because Marcus Sasser's great, Jamal Shedd's good, but I think Hunter and Carr, when they get going, are about as good as anybody outside of Miami's backcourt. So I don't know. I think this is a game where Texas could frustrate Houston. Damn it. Texas could frustrate Miami with some of their length in the interior and other things. I think Norchad Omer is going to be a huge factor again, what he does on the glass, especially when you have a Texas team that can throw Christian Bishop in there. I know Disu might be out. He was in a boot last night, so I don't think that bodes well for him. But Dylan Mitchell can come in and give you some minutes. Obviously, Serge Jabari Rice. So I think Texas keeps it rolling, but I think it'd be great for the sport to see a team like Miami get there because they were in the Elite Eight last season and lost to Kansas. So
yeah, I'm
they
going
were
to take
10
Miami.
seed last season.
Miami this game. Marcus Carr is going to go 3 for 22, shoot Texas out of this game because he thinks that he's too good. I can't see Marcus Carr in a Final Four.
It's a very real scenario and point, certainly.
Yeah.
And last season, Miami lost by 26 to Kansas in the Elite Eight and scored 15 points in the second half.
That could happen here.
And that was the thing, is that Miami was up 6 at the half in that game and lost by 26. So, yeah, it wasn't Isaiah Wong's fault. He's like him and Jordan Miller are the 2 holdovers in their lineup from last season on this team. I mean, there's guys off the bench that are still there, but yeah, this team's definitely better than last season. Last season they were a 10 seed. This season they're a 5 seed. Last season they had 31-year-old Charlie Moore in their backcourt. So these are the Final Four picks that we have here, folks. Very exciting. Very exciting. So we both have Creighton versus K-State, and then I have Texas Gonzaga. You have Miami Gonzaga. Who would you have in the national title game tentatively?
Give me Kansas State Gonzaga is the matchup I would like to see. Yeah.
But we would see Creighton Gonzaga. Yes, I agree. But I feel like if Texas gets to the Final Four, they might just keep it rolling and win the whole thing. I don't know. It kind of feels like that with them.
I agree. They definitely have the best shot. March 25th, two blank. What is that up there? What we got going on?
There's a logo for when we don't have this screen up. See right there. It's really small though, so that kind of I screwed it up. The Sweet 16 one looked a little bit better. Anyway, let's just toss this one up there.
Better.
Well, I don't know about that. Yeah, I mean, hey, who knows what's going to happen? I will say this: Texas, don't hire Rodney Terry. Take my good friend Brad Underwood. No, I'm just kidding.
I heard that they're interested in Chester Frazier at Texas.
Oh wow, yeah, it would make a lot of sense. I mean, you look at Chester's resume, and
yeah, he's on Twitter asking about X's and O's. So
I love how everybody, and this is the last thing, I love how everybody like gets behind like. Then you have the national outlets starting to say, "Oh, you got to hire Rodney." That's like nothing that we say is going to determine what the Texas donors and athletic department want to do.
My thing is Rodney Terry worth $10 million a year?
No,
that's my question.
Not even close.
Yeah.
He might be worth.
I mean, at least
3.5
at a discount, I guess.
Yeah, but then you're Texas. Like, we got to be spending money. What the hell am I here for? But like.
Spending on the players.
Rodney Terry went 8-21, 17-15, 12-12 at UTEP, and his third team at UTEP was pretty good.
Yeah.
So, and at Fresno State, he did pretty well overall. Made the tournament once, but bizarre. I don't know. Can you recruit with Rodney Terry to the level that Beard was? Can you work the portal? I feel like the players love him, but.
That's why I think that's the most important thing is interviewing the players and see what they think.
Yeah, but most of these guys won't even be there next year.
Yeah, but just to see if they will. You say they love him. I haven't. I mean,
look at the interviews with him after the Big 12 title game. That's all you need to know.
Stores, though, is a lot different.
Well, Timmy Allen's in his 5th year. He's gone. Marcus Carr's in his 6th year, pretty much. He's
He'll
gone.
Be back.
Disu's a senior. He's maybe back. Dylan Mitchell probably going to transfer if he doesn't go to the NBA. Brock Cunningham's like 42 years old. Bishop's a senior. They're all gone. It's not going to matter. Bring in Brad Underwood. Bring in Brad Underwood to inspire.
Taking Coleman Hawkins with him.
That would be hilarious. God, that would be funny. Maybe Cal Papari ends up there. We'll see. But all right, we will be back probably next like Friday or Saturday or something for the Final Four preview, I guess. And I guess the plan would be the usual one. The last 2 years we've done it where we did national championship preview on the day of the game and then national championship recap after the game, directly after.
Okay.
Last 2 years that happened. And usually our national championship recap is about 10 minutes. So they'll be like, this team played really well. Obviously,
The other team sucks, yes.
Yep. All right. Gotta go. That's this was anybody listening, I'm sure they had a good time today. So
yeah, that's good stuff.
You got about 6 hours before the games to listen to this, so have fun. Obviously, maybe listen to it a couple times because of how good it was. So, goodbye.